From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has called the situation in Gaza a genocide, becoming the first GOP member of Congress to use the term. This and more in today's show, so stay tuned. A global hunger watchdog has issued a dire warning that famine is unfolding in Gaza. According to the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC, Gaza has crossed critical famine thresholds. The IPC blames Israel's ongoing siege, mass displacement, and collapsing public services, including healthcare, for the crisis. It says the conflict has severely limited aid access, while relentless violence continues to uproot families and destroy infrastructure. Humanitarian groups are urging immediate and unrestricted access to food, water, and medical care to prevent further loss of life. The warning comes as starvation spreads rapidly across Gaza, with millions at risk. Auda Hathlin, the Palestinian activist and crew member of the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, was shot dead by an Israeli settler in the occupied West Bank on Monday. The film's Israeli co-director Yuval Abraham shared a disturbing video on social media. It shows a well-known Israeli settler firing at Palestinians in Masafar, the same village featured in the documentary. The gunman was identified as Yinon Levi, a settler already sanctioned by the U.S. and EU in 2024 for repeated violence against Palestinians. The footage does not clearly show who was filming, but several Palestinians were seen near the camera. The killing has sparked fresh outrage as Hathlin's death adds to growing concerns over Israeli settler violence and impunity in the West Bank. Human rights groups are demanding justice and renewed calls to protect Palestinian communities from attacks by armed settlers. Congresswoman Rashid Tlaib has sharply condemned a House bill that threatens sanctions on South Africa for its genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, or ICJ. Tlaib and other critics argue the bill punishes South Africa for its stand against Israeli war crimes in Gaza and the West Bank. Calling it an extremist disgrace, Tlaib warned lawmakers that if they vote for this bill, then they should never utter South African anti-apartheid activist Nelson Mandela's name ever again. The bill, introduced by Republican Representative Ronnie Jackson of Texas, passed the House Foreign Affairs Committee 34-13 with bipartisan support. It calls for the U.S. to reassess its ties with South Africa and proposes sanctions on officials from the ruling African National Congress. Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says a genocide is underway in Gaza. She is the first member of her party in Congress to use the term, as she condemned famine due to Israel's blockade of food and humanitarian aid in the region. In a social media post on Monday evening, she wrote, "It's the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned, but so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza." Israeli soldiers have killed at least 62 people across Gaza since Tuesday morning, including 19 people seeking aid, despite declared pauses in fighting. In the past 24 hours, 113 bodies and more than 630 injured people were brought to hospitals. A global famine warning has been issued as Israel continues to block aid to Gaza. Meanwhile, the Netherlands banned 2 Israeli ministers over incitement. Israel has killed more than 65,000 Palestinians since the start of its genocide in Gaza in October 2023. 4 people, including NYPD officer Didarul Islam, killed in a Manhattan office shooting. Details after the break, so stay tuned.
Muna Convention 2025 is coming, and you don't want to miss the event of the year. With over 25,000 attendees, it's one of the largest annual gatherings of American Muslims. This isn't just a convention, it's a celebration of faith, learning, community, and inspiration. Join world-renowned speakers. This is your moment to reconnect, reflect, and be inspired. From youth programs and college sessions to daycare, Quran competitions, and talent shows, there's something for every member of the family. Shop the Bazaar and Expo with over 200 vendors featuring faith-based products, books, gifts, and cultural treasures. Visit municonvention.com to register now. Spaces are filling fast. We can't wait to welcome you.
Four people are dead after a gunman opened fire at an office building in Midtown Manhattan on Monday evening. The victims include New York police officer Didarul Islam, two women, and another man, according to Commissioner Jessica Tisch. 36-year-old officer Didarul Islam was a father of two, and his wife is pregnant with their third child. The shooter, identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Nevada, entered the building with a long rifle and wore a bulletproof vest. He first shot Officer Islam, then continued through the lobby, shooting others. Tamura was later found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Tamura had no criminal history, but had documented mental health issues. His motive remains under investigation. The Trump administration has issued new rules allowing federal employees to openly express and promote their religious beliefs in the workplace. This follows a Supreme Court ruling and recent pro-religion executive orders. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management says staff can now pray, display religious items, and even discuss or promote their faith with colleagues as long as it is not considered harassment. The memo permits Bibles, crosses, religious jewelry, and posters at desks or on one's person. However, critics like the Freedom from Religion Foundation warn the policy promotes Christian nationalism and could lead to coercive evangelizing, especially between supervisors and subordinates. A new report says Social Security's trust fund will run dry 7 years from now. It warns that if Congress does not act, more than 60 million Americans could face automatic cuts. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says payments could drop by 24%. That means a typical retired couple could lose $18,100 a year. Even lower-income households would feel the hit, with cuts ranging from $11,000 to $24,000, depending on income. The organization also warns that the newly passed federal spending bill worsens the crisis by slashing Social Security's income through tax cuts. The committee says only bipartisan reform, such as raising revenue or adjusting benefits, can stop the cliff. Attorneys representing immigrants at Florida's Alligator Alcatraz detention center say they have been blocked from contacting their clients. In federal court, civil rights lawyers called the situation an emergency, saying detainees cannot access legal counsel and are pressured to sign deportation orders without advice. Lawyers report that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE's system, did not show their clients' location. Emails went unanswered and virtual visits were canceled. Some lawyers drove to the remote Everglades site but were turned away. They also said phone calls are short, paid, and monitored, violating privacy. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' legal team claims conditions have since improved, with visits and video calls allowed. The judge has not ruled yet, but warned the court would not act as the jail's warden. Meanwhile, deportation flights from the facility began last week, but destinations remain unclear. A full hearing is set for August 18th. Sudan's capital, Khartoum, is a ghost town after nearly 2 years of brutal conflict in the country. A new video by Anadolu News Agency shows widespread destruction to key buildings and infrastructure in the capital. Government offices, private sector buildings, and entire streets bear bullet holes, fire scars, and signs of abandonment. The fighting between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces began in April 2023 and has since spread nationwide. Authorities have started cleanup and restoration efforts, clearing debris and burnt vehicles from roads. A new High National Committee is overseeing returns and restoring basic services. Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan recently landed at the reopened Khartoum airport and toured key locations. The United Nations says more than 20,000 people have died and 14 million have been displaced. However, U.S. researchers estimate the real death toll may be as high as 130,000. India's government says 3 suspected militants were killed in a gunfight with its soldiers in Srinagar, the summer capital of Indian-administered Kashmir. The encounter took place Monday in the Lidwas area of Harwan after security agencies received specific intelligence. The Indian Army, paramilitary forces, and local police launched a joint operation backed by drones and reinforcements. The Army confirmed the deaths under Operation Mahadev, but said the identities and affiliations of the alleged militants are unknown. This is the second such operation in the area since December. Scientists at University of California, Riverside have developed a new chemical shield that protects DNA, thereby slowing aging and preventing disease. The new molecule binds to damaged mitochondrial DNA and blocks its degradation. Researchers say this chemical shield stops the damage before it causes harm. Damaged mitochondrial DNA can lead to heart disease, Alzheimer's, and chronic inflammation. Researchers say this discovery shifts the focus from repairing DNA to preventing its destruction. Qatar has opened the first contemporary women's mosque in the Muslim world. The Al-Mujadila Center in Doha was commissioned by Sheikha Muazza bint Nasser and designed by U.S. firm Diller, Scofidio, and Renfro. Architect Elizabeth Diller called the project a special opportunity to create a sacred space tailored for women's spiritual and everyday needs. The 50,000 square foot center serves as a space for prayer, learning, and community, and includes classrooms, gardens, and an open air ablution area. The main prayer hall can hold up to 750 worshippers, expanding to 1,300 during Ramadan. Blending modern architecture with Islamic tradition, the curved roof features 5,000 light wells for natural lighting. Visitors say the Qibla wall, skylit mihrab, and a custom prayer carpet give the space a spiritual focus. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.